have noticed a lot of differences, but we don't want this to be like a political difference or like a deep cultural
This
historical
isn't cultural
difference.
historical. These are just basic observations that we've noticed between Japan and Korea. Let's start with the first one that's the most obvious to me, and I think it's the way that stores advertise themselves between Japan and Korea. There are a lot of stores outside with like bars and whatnot and noribanks, and they have these like big glowing inflatable things on the sidewalk, and they got like sandwich boards, and then like guys throw around advertisements on the ground and whatnot. While in Japan you don't really notice that. The streets are a lot cleaner and stores aren't obnoxiously advertising themselves all the time.
It seriously gets to the point that when you're walking down an alleyway, there are so many inflatable objects, but when everybody for the entire street has the exact same inflatable glowing sticks, you can't really pick one out, right?
I just want to know who runs the inflatable obnoxious thing industry in Korea, because they are freaking loaded. Everybody's buying it from them.
We both agree that we do not like the flyers, and supposedly it's illegal. You'll see them, they're sneakily walking down the street.
And they got like a handful of flyers, and they'll walk around and they'll toss flyers on the ground.
Or they'll have it like behind their back, and they're just like walking like this, like smoking a cigarette, and then they're secretly like dumping piles of flyers on the ground. I
actually remember in Bucheon, I'm not sure if you've actually saw this the way I saw it, there was a one guy on a scooter who had like business cards.
Oh my god,
and he was driving by like a ninja. He was just like tossing them like ninja stars. And the thing is, his aim was so spot on. It's like they were like the double doors to an apartment, and he would toss them from the street all the way into the apartment. How are you not using this skill for more good? Do you know how many bad guys you could be taking out instead of advertising for like a fish restaurants?
Yeah, so supposedly it is illegal in Korea, but I don't see anybody cracking down on it, and it really needs to stop, because by the end of the night on the weekend, people are like cleaning up piles of paper, and it's like, are you gonna bend down and look at the 400 sheets of papers and be like, oh, I should go to this new restaurant?
Let me go to this booby bar.
And then like, yeah, it's true. A lot of them are for booby bars.
Now, I'm not sure if this happens in Japan or not. It might, but we've never actually seen it when we were there.
Yeah, another one of the big differences is eating out. So obviously we're not cooking in a home, we're like visiting Japan, and so we only eat fast food when we're there. I don't mean like McDonald's, I mean like Japanese sit-down restaurants.
Japanese restaurants, yeah.
But we were so desperately craving vegetables.
Oh man, I love how in Korea, if you go to a kimbap chongo or any restaurant, they give you like side dishes of a whole bunch of vegetables. But that was really lacking when we were in Japan. Like we found that everything that we ate was just like rice and noodle with a combination of like meat sauce or saucy meat. And like by the end of it, like Martina got to this crazy point that we had to go to the supermarket, buy a bunch of veggies. We took it back to the hotel, and she was just like eating her washed spinach like a crazy lady.
Listen, banchan, it's called banchan, the little side dishes in Korea. You get it everywhere. It doesn't matter if it's a small fast food chain or like a grand restaurant. That's just part of Korean culture. If we come back to Japan, who wants to bring us to their home for home-cooked vegetable meals?
So can you feed us some veggies when we're there?
Yeah.
Our next point is about public transportation. I really have to say that Korea's subway is the best subway. The Japanese subway is so expensive and it's convoluted, and you got so many different lines. And what's weird about it is that like we try to get subway maps on our iPhones, and we'd be like, okay, how do we get from here to here? And they would just skip some of the lines because like different lines are owned by different companies or something like that.
The problem is that in Japan, you can take the subway this way, and then you have to get off, and then you walk underground, like 4 layers under, and like around a corner.
And then you gotta go up and
like
then
down
around,
the stairs.
and then there's these ropes you gotta climb, and they're just swinging.
It's like this, what's that game called?
It's like Pitfall is what it is.
Not Pitfall.
Most Extreme Elimination Challenge. That's what I feel like when we try to take the subway.
Well, in Korea, it's all operated by, I guess, the Seoul government.
I don't know.
So you just get on and you go wherever you have to go.
It's much more tightly integrated in Korea, and we really like that about the subway system here.
And our next point, Korea. Oh, Korea, you are Wi-Fi heaven.
God bless you and all of your unpassworded Wi-Fi hotspots everywhere. I don't know what it is. Every time I go to Japan, everybody's got passwords on their networks. Why are you so paranoid, Japan? I like being able to walk around in Korea, just like leech off of everybody's Wi-Fi wherever I want to.
Not even leech off. Like if you go to a coffee shop in Korea, they'll have like the Wi-Fi password on your receipt or at the front, or you just ask them, and everyone has Wi-Fi and everyone will use it.
Speaking of the internet, another big difference we noticed between Korea and Japan is that, well, not that we noticed, but that we've been, people have told us, is that you can't actually see any internet pornos in Korea. Every time you try to go to the porno site, you get a government warning. I'm not sure what it says, but it says something like you will get deported. No, probably not. In Japan, you get lots of pornos if you want on the internets.
Have you tried?
No, I like to relate what other people have told me about. the differences between the two?
Well, the major difference is that you can walk down the street in Japan and see porno shops everywhere.
Yeah!
Okay, so that's like, you don't even need to go online for that.
Like Akihabara, whoa!
And you think you go into a store and you're just like shopping for clothing, and then you turn the corner and you're in like the rainbow thong section.
I've seen so many contraptions and devices and like multi-level buildings with like lots of things, and I just don't see that in Korea.
No, you don't see that in Korea. I'm sure they have it somewhere, but it's not as like easily accessible as it is in Japan.